Let's rev it up with Mega Clops? Oh boy, tech choices. Make sure you guys smash the link crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out. More Infinitrack Mega Clops. Oh boy. The last time I saw Mega Clops showing up it's been a while, actually. So what's so funny about seeing Mega Clops actually being a funny little package here is sharks are the ones that are actually using this. Now, I find it very interesting that I guess sharks can technically get multiple Exceed monsters on the field to be able to take advantage of actually making a Mega Clops. Now, my concern here is does a Mega Clops actually matter in a world where Typhoon actually exists? Because if I'm gonna, and you've also got to make sure that you don't get really Exceed locked. I guess that's the thing, right? Like, if I'm making a Mega Clops, I would have to do it all after not getting Exceed locked or do it on the next turn. So in terms of all of that, I mean, that becomes a little bit risky. And once again, your opponent has an immediate check to it in the form of Typhoon if they're actually playing it. So, is it worth it? I saw this tech choice. It's popped up in 2 shark lists now. Do I think it's good? It's questionable. Do I think it's cute? Yes. We do talk a little bit about cute tech choices, because options like this that you can just slap out a card that your opponent might not have an answer to can win you some free games. We've seen it time and time again, and I think that's one of the fun things about Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, you never expect a shark deck to be having a giant Mega Clops floating in the back that suddenly is going to be a problem for you to deal with if you don't have a Zeus or a Typhoon to answer it. Plasma and Yummy. Does this technically count as the bottom of the barrel for us figuring things out at this point? So the answer to this question is hilarious. And it is, how in the world are we getting the Plasma? So you're playing the D-Spell card, the Search for It. You're also, I guess, playing Break the Destiny in this pile as well. But the whole concept with this is Yummy technically puts up 3 monsters very easily, do they not? I mean, let's think about it like this. I mean, a Yummy monster into, extra bodies. You get the draw 2, discard 1. You have Yummy Surprise to, bring back, another little extra piece. I think the answer is yes. We have the bodies to do it. But then the question is does it become worth it? What is my payoff to make Plasma in this deck? And I think the answer is it's just fun. It's just something else. Also, once again, I mean, you're able to force your opponent to be in a bad position with Plasma. Now, if you don't have the D-Spell card up, you're not going to be getting those huge attack point boost on Plasma. The whole idea behind this, I feel like, stems from the classic, protect the castle strategy. Your idea is to set up this big, giant boss monster and then ride it out. And that's fine. That's usually how good ideas come about, but I think it's not going to be enough. Once again, I think we have some cool ideas present here. I think, as Yummy does kind of evolve with the little extra concepts that you can play, sure, why not, right? Good old Regenesis. So, the more I see these archfiend piles developing in the OCG, I think the more interested I get in the idea of building the Regenesis hybrid build. Now, you got to remember, Regenesis Archfiend is an Archfiend card, so you've already got what we like to call the natural synergy built into the deck. And typically, when your deck actually synergizes very, very strongly with a theme, you are probably going to be getting some free advantage off of that. Now, also having access to the rest of the Archfiend toolbox, in addition to the rest of the Regenesis toolbox, I feel like you can basically create a pretty strong deck here. The big thing is also, most of the Regenesis stuff is going to lock you out of your extra deck. So I guess the natural synergy is to look to the ritual stuff to be that kind of patch that you want to have to be able to, play the engine. And that's fine. That's kind of the cool thing about the way that the deck is supposed to work, right? It's, rituals actually don't limit you in the capabilities of the no extra deck. Outside of that, Regenesis is basically the endless cycle of death and rebirth in terms of their lore. You've also got, the birth trap card that's literally going to spin them right back to the field so that they can keep coming back every single turn. Free advantage, people. You do love to see it. Truthfully, outside of that, obviously the archfiend deck in its current form is going to be a very casual deck. I don't think anybody is going to disagree with that. But I do think that there is some consideration here for things kind of going forward to consider. So we will see. We will see indeed. Let's talk about the bamboo sword engine. So a couple of interesting little things that we have seen throughout the years with the bamboo sword package. It usually leads you back to the FTK that was present. And I assume most of you guys remember Reversal Quiz. That was a very, very fun time. I've seen a couple. The OCG likes holding on to Reversal Quiz. You got to remember, in modern era times, a simple Droll and Lockbird is able to basically end, your entire development, and your turn is basically done at that point. So, there are some problems to be had with that. And then, of course, there's also the consideration and takeaway for the new Doom Z stuff. Doom Z, there's one duelist in Japan that has been having massive success with Doom Z and the Bamboo Sword package. Not only because the Bamboo Sword stuff is able to draw you cards and actually is able to just act as, free equip cards, but it also, it's kind of the point, right? The Doom Z monsters are basically cycling through and being like, oh, hey, these cards equip, give you 0 attack. Okay, well, there's not really a downside to wanting to play these cards with the deck. Actually, it's to your advantage to want to consider these pieces as active enhancements to the strategy. So there has been some very interesting developments with the broken bamboo stuff. And I can definitely say that it's not what it used to be, but Doom Z continues to develop, some of the coolest little tech choices and things over time. And I think that's kind of a W, actually. Equip decks definitely need to actually work out and play, and I think the bamboo sword stuff is very, very intricate for that. I want to talk about Enneacraft for a second. Now, it isn't Enneacraft in the way that we're used to seeing it. It's actually using Enneacraft as generic pendulum scales that can search and generate extra pieces. Now, for those of you that don't know, every Enneacraft pendulum monster is in fact a it's a scale 0, which none of them have locks on them, other than the modifying of the destruction of cards on the opponent's field. We don't really get to see much advantage to that, but there's been talk about the generic pendulum stuff that is able to use these cards, because one, they can search for themselves. Basically, for the cost of 900 life points, I get a pendulum scale, I can scale, and I can go search for another body that I can basically pendulum summon out from my hand. I don't really see the issue with that, do you? There's also, you could technically scale one Wavering Eyes both. You could get some places there. But obviously, if you're trying to, special the Enneacraft, that's where the locks are going to come in by the revealing. But there is some talk about this. I found that very interesting. That, the Enneacrafts don't technically have locks on the pendulum side of things. So you could technically navigate and do things like that. I don't know. That's very interesting to me. So what do you guys think about all these ideas? Please do comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace.
Patrons!
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.